Hello, students. So for today, I'm going to show you on how to write a research paper or thesis writing. So before we proceed to the terminologies and parts of a research paper, I'm going to show you a short video clip about the definition of a research.
Created using baun.
All right, so that is the process of writing a thesis or research paper. Now let's proceed to the terminologies. Okay, so for research paper or writing process, the first thing that you have to do is to think of a topic. So make sure that it is significant to the current situation, which means to say it should be timely. Okay. Why? Because if it is timely, everybody can relate about it. Like, for example, in this time of pandemic, right? We can gather a lot of research study or title in this time of pandemic. We can talk about the experiences of the students, the learning system that we use, the platform that we use during this time of pandemic. Okay. So after you come up with a topic, okay, so that is the time for you to research a study. Okay. So you can use the power of Google, the power of technology in order for you to come up or to gather information about your chosen topic. And after that, you can create. Okay, you may start writing your research title, okay, that is relevant to your chosen topic. Then the next thing that you have to do is to think about your purpose, okay? Why am I doing this one? Is it because of requirement? Is it out of curiosity? Or it makes it interesting for you? Okay, those are your purpose. Then the next thing that you have to do after you have provided your research title, so it's time for you to proceed to the statement of the problem. Okay, so these are the questions to be answered for your research. Okay, you're going to create a problem, and of course, with the use of your hands and with the use of your mouth, okay, your ability to gather data, you will be able to look or to find answers from it, and you may start writing your research paper. Okay, so what is a research study? Okay, so it plays an important role in discovering new treatments and making sure that we use existing treatments in the best possible ways. So because of research class, it can find answers to things that are unknown, okay? Filling gaps in knowledge and changing the way that healthcare professionals work, okay? That is why we are doing research, okay? To make something new, okay? To find answer to things that are unknown, okay? So why we are doing research? So aside from it is a requirement in English 10, okay, in senior high school, the purpose of research is to enhance society. Okay, we are helping our society, we are helping our country, which is the Philippines, by advancing knowledge through the development of scientific theories, concepts, and ideas. Okay. So now let's proceed to the parts of a research paper. Okay, so for a research paper, we commonly have um, 5 chapters. Okay, and the first one is chapter 1. So the chapter title is The Problem and Its Background. So for chapter 1, it consists introduction, statement of the problem, significance of the study, scope and the limitation of the study, and the last one is definition of terms. Okay, so now let's discuss the parts of chapter 1. So the first thing that we have to do is to have the background of the study, okay, or the introduction. So it includes the purpose and reason behind the conduct of the study, okay? So what made you conduct the study? You're going to answer this question. So just like what I've mentioned, it serves as the introduction. So for this one, you're going to define your topic, your research title first. And then for background of the study, you're going to provide a published study, okay? Or a research study that will serve as your basis. So later on, I'm going to show you an example of this research, okay? But for now, let's focus first on the definition of the parts for chapter 1. Next is we have the statement of the problem, or we call it SOP. Okay, so this is the main problem that the research is trying to solve. Okay, it follows the formulation of the title and should be faithful to it. It specifically points the important questions that the study needs to answer. It also serves as the basis of the questionnaire. Okay, so just like what I've mentioned, the statement of the problem, these are the questions, okay, that you want to know about your study. Okay, so at the end of the day, you will gather the data, okay, and that data will come from your respondents. Okay, and of course, for statement of the problem, in order for you to look for the answers, you have to prepare questionnaire. Okay. So next is the significance of the study. Okay. Why we are conducting the study? What is the purpose? Okay. So who will be the beneficiaries of the study? So you have to identify who will benefit from the research and how they will be benefited. So this should match with the recommendations. So for recommendations, this will be under the last part of your research. Okay, for significance of the study, we have to the students, to the parents, to the teachers, to the community. Okay, then the next one is assumptions of the study or the expected outcome of the research. Actually, this part, it is not literally included in a research paper. Okay, I just want to add this information. Okay, next is we have scope and limitations of the study or delimitation. Okay, so for this one, we have the word scope and limitation. Okay, when we say scope, the thing that you're going to cover, then limitation, it pertains to your limit. Okay, so you have limitations. You have to minimize and at the same time maximize. So for this part, it determines the coverage of the study, which means the scope, and all the things that it will not cover, which means limitation or delimitation, in order to be specific. Okay. Then the next one is definition of terms. So it's like glossary, it's like dictionary, okay, in a research paper. It defines technical terms based on how they are used in the study, specifically in the title. So this aims to provide the readers or future researchers with the basic terminologies that are important to understand the paper. Okay, for example, you don't understand the word new normal education. So you can find the definition of that under definition of terms for chapter 1. Okay, so it's like dictionary. For definition of terms, we have two types of meaning. Okay, the first one is the original meaning that we can find in the dictionary. Then the next one is the technical terms. Okay, so technical terms, it is how we use it in our study. Okay, so that is chapter 1. So next, let's proceed to chapter 2. The chapter title is Review of Related Literature and Studies. So for this one, we have introduction, related literature, and related studies. So the difference between the two, related literature, these are the articles, the magazines. These are the information that can be found on the internet, okay, like social media, okay, article, blogs, magazines, okay. Those are examples of related literature. For related studies, from the word itself, studies, these are published thesis, okay, or research paper, okay. So for related studies, we have two parts, foreign studies and local studies. So when we say foreign studies, these are research studies that happened internationally, okay? For local, it happened here in the Philippines, okay? Then the last one is the conceptual framework, okay? So it's it is like an illustration of um your research, okay? It explains the process of your research. So now let me discuss it for you. Okay, so for chapter 2, these are collection of related literature and studies. So this is where you will use your note cards and will serve as the foundation of your research. So this is your own work and therefore should not directly lift words from other sources. So this will require your command of language and writing skills such as summarizing, paraphrasing, and writing indirect speeches. So the purpose of chapter 2, just like what you have noticed in on the screen, related literature. So these are articles or blogs, information statements, and theses, okay, that are related or connected to your present study, okay? Then the next one is chapter 3. The chapter title is Methods of Study and Sources of Data. So we have the introduction again, the research design, the respondents, the data gathering instrument, and then the data gathering procedure. And the last one is statistical treatment. Okay, by the way, class, I forgot to mention for research, it has two types. We have quantitative, okay, and qualitative. So what is the difference between the two? When we say qualitative, it focuses more on the experiences. It is subjective. It is opinionated. Okay, so the researchers will gather information about the opinions or experiences of their respondents. Okay, so it is more on subjective type. While for quantitative, okay, so it talks about the number. Okay, like for example, the study is all about the preference of grade 10 students. Okay, so like for example, you're going to enter senior high school. So what is the most preferred strand? Is it ABM, gas, STEM, or UMS? Okay, so here for quantitative, it will focus more on the numbers, okay? Most and least. Like for example, 50 students voted for UMS, then 30 for STEM, okay? And then 5, uh, 10 for ABM, and then another 10 for gas, okay? So that's how it looks like for quantitative. It focuses more on the number, okay? So the questionnaire here is like checklist, okay? While for qualitative, these are questions, question type. Like for example, how was your experience during the new normal education? Okay, so it requires essay form of writing. Okay, unlike for quantitative, it is answerable by yes or no. Okay, so for chapter 3, we have the methods and procedures. So we have the method of research. Okay, so the kind of research used by your study, this answers why the method used is appropriate for the study. The next one is subjects of the study. It describes your respondents, who they are, what their profile is, and where they are from, and etc. Okay, so another term for method of research is research design. Okay, so for example, for quantitative, we usually use descriptive, okay, descriptive research for quantitative. For qualitative, we use thematic analysis. Okay, that is the research design. Okay, the kind of research used by your study. Okay, then the subjects of the study. So these are your respondents. Okay. Next, we have the description of your research instrument or the data gathering instrument. Okay, so these are the materials that you will be using. So it describes your instruments such as the questionnaire, your mobile phone, or your recording. Okay, then we have the data gathering procedure. Okay, so it narrates the process undergone by the study that eventually leads to the findings. Okay, so it narrates the story, okay, the process of gathering the data. So for data gathering procedure, you will narrate it under conceptual framework. Okay, the conceptual framework is the illustration. Then we have the paradigm of the study as well. So later I'm gonna show that. Then the next one is statistical treatment applied. So here it can be used for quantitative. But in our case, we will be using qualitative. Okay, so we don't have any computation at all. For chapter 4, the title is Presentation, Analysis, and Interpretation of Your Data. So we have the introduction, and for number 4, so you will provide your SOP, then under your SOP, you will provide the answers, okay, gathered from your respondents. Okay, results of the study. So it presents all the data gathered using the questionnaire by tabulating all the gathered information. Aside from the tables, an interpretation of each presented data should follow. So this will serve as the basis of your summary of findings. And the last one is chapter 5. So this will be the summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendations. So this is the end of your research. So for chapter 5, we have introduction, summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendations. For summary of findings, it summarizes. It's just a summary of your chapter 4. So this should directly answer your statement of the problem. So make sure, so after you gather the data, you will be able to provide answers for your SOP. If not, meaning to say you're not able to present a well-presented research paper, okay? Then the next one is conclusions. Out of your findings, your conclusion are based. So this provides the answers for every statement of the problem. This is where you will prove your hypothesis and assumptions, okay? Then the last one is recommendation. So it should be directly based on the significance of the study. This also includes the recommended actions that should be done after the conduct of the study, such as further assessment of the subject, focus on the other factors, and etc. So for recommendations, probably these are the weakness of the result of your study. Okay, that is the purpose of recommendation. And of course, you have to provide recommendations based on the result of your study. So now let's proceed to the other part. So that is the end of chapter 5. For other parts, we have the title page. It consists the research title, the name of the researchers, and then your research advisor or research teacher or English teacher. Next one is acknowledgement. It is a personal page where the researchers are given the privilege to extend gratitude to all people who help in accomplishing the research. Table of contents, list of tables or figures, bibliography, then appendix. Okay, so these are the 5 parts of a research paper. Okay, so before I show you an example of a research study, so let me show you first the LA. Okay, so for LA, for the first one, you're going to unlock vocabulary, okay? Unlocking of vocabulary words. So you have to open your book, of course, in order for you to do this. Okay, so we have page 354, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so for practice your skill, we have letter A, vocabulary building. So research paper vocabulary. So for this activity, so okay, so for this activity, see page 354 on your textbook, okay, and match the research terms to their meaning. So write the letter of the correct answer on the space provided before the number. And then after that, you may proceed to letter B, fill in the boxes by writing the parts of a research paper. So what is the title for chapter 2? So if you listen to the discussion, you will be able to answer. Okay, so write the chapter title and then the parts presented. No need to give the definition, just enumerate the parts. Chapter 3, what is the chapter title of chapter 3? And then the parts. Chapter 4, the parts, enumerate it. Chapter 5, the title, and then the parts. Okay, no need to provide the definition, just enumerate. Okay. And now for enrichment, so these are the definition, okay? So you have to read the sentences and identify the parts of a research paper, okay? So write your answers on the space provided before the number. So number one, a part of a research paper that pertains to the beneficiaries of the study. So what part, okay? What part of a research paper talks about the beneficiaries of the study? Okay, so you may write your answer, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. And of course, for apply your skills. So this will serve as your final project for English 10 for fourth quarter. So we have, so the teacher will divide the class into 6 groups. So I just want to let you know that your group in literary critiquing will be the same group for your research. Okay, so we have 5 leaders. We have Lindo, Agapito, Monteclaro, Pamintuan, and Arcega. Okay, same leaders and same members. So I asked you to look, I gave you an assignment like to look for a topic for your research study. So for your topic, you may come up with your research title. So you may start talking with your group mates and then write 3 to 4 statements of the problem. Okay, so for chapter 1, so we will be doing research proposal only. Okay, research proposal. So you're going to present chapter 1 only. Okay, so that will be submitted in April. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the example of our research. Okay, so for this one, I want to acknowledge my former students from grade 11. Okay, so before they were my former students, but now they are in grade 12. Okay, so this is an example of a research study. So as you can see, it consists of 127 pages. Okay, so the title of the study is all about the impact of senior high school work immersion on the career path. Okay, so for your information class, work immersion, these are, it can be called as OJT, okay, of the grade 12 students, okay. Their experiences as a teacher, if they are taking UMS as their strand, okay, and then related to medicine, if STEM, then accountant for ABM, okay. So this is their research title. So this is an example of a research title, Impact of Senior High School Work Immersion on the Career Path. So this is an example of a research or a front page. So we have the approval letter, although you're not going to do this. Okay, so this is an example of acknowledgement. Okay, then dedication. Of course, you're not going to do that. Not yet. Okay, so table of contents. Okay, and then list of table, list of figure, then chapter 1. Okay, so chapter 1, so this is chapter 1, the introduction. So for introduction class, you have to define first what is work immersion. Okay, or you may include a thesis statement. When we say thesis statement, it is arguable. Okay, so here what they did is they provide a statement, okay, related to education. Since they are talking about work immersion, they start their introduction in introducing education. So the key function of education is to fully prepare students for life after school and build one's whole identity that enables students to cope up with the challenges of life. So here you have to state, okay, the author, the last name of the author, and then the year. Okay, and then in college, and then another statement as well. Okay, so for introduction, aside from defining your title, you can look or you can use an RRL. Okay, but make sure that your RRL in chapter 1 will not be included in chapter 2. Okay, so that we can avoid redundancy. Okay, so after the definition, so we have the depth ed, okay, and this one. Okay. So for this one, what is the purpose of work immersion? So this is the purpose. So a student is expected to discover themselves in starting a professional growth to improve learned skills and building new ones, and at the same time develop values and work ethics that would prepare them for global competitiveness. So this is the purpose of the study. Okay, so always remember for introduction class, don't forget to define your research title, provide an RRL that will support your introduction or research title. You can cite at least 2 RRLs for introduction. And at the last part of your introduction, the purpose of your study. Okay. Then we have statement of the problem. So these are the questions that you want to know about your study. Okay, number 1, what is the demographic profile? So the researchers before, okay, so they want to know the profile of their respondents. So the name, the batch, the track or strand in senior high school, then college course. Okay, so meaning to say their respondents are college students already. Okay, so they just want to know their previous experience when they were in senior high school. Okay, specifically grade 12. So after that, how does work immersion affect the respondents in the aspects of the following? Okay, since their topic is all about the impact, okay, they want to know how does work immersion affect the respondents in terms of knowledge and skills? Is it helpful, okay, to their knowledge and skills and to their career choice? Then the last SOP, after you will be able to identify the impact of work immersion, the last one would be what should be done to enhance. Okay, so we can assume that there will be weakness of the study. Okay, that's why we can use this kind of SOP. So what should be done to enhance the work immersion program of the school to prepare its learners for global competitiveness? So these are examples of SOP. Okay, and it must be related and connected to your research title. Okay. The next one is the significance of the study. Okay, so these are the people who will be benefited from your study. Significance to the students. So what is the significance to the students? What is the significance to the parents? Okay, so it depends. Okay, it depends on your respondents, administration, researchers, and future researchers. Okay, so always remember for significance of the study, we always have the students, the researchers, and future researchers. Okay, next one is scope and the limitation of the study. So this study focused on determining the impacts of work immersion on the career path in terms of knowledge, skills, and career choice. So the study was because they already finished this study. Okay, but in your case class, you are currently doing this. So make sure that present tense and future tense of the verb, okay? So make sure that future and present tense of the verb are the tenses of verb that you're going to use, okay? So the coverage of the study was delimited to 15 respondents, okay, comprised of college students that graduated senior high school and attended the work immersion program in Concepcion Catholic School only. Okay, so as you can see, class, we have the scope and the limitation of the study. Scope, okay, it is for the students, okay, of Concepcion Catholic School during the academic year 2019-2020. Okay? The limitation, it is only limited to 15 students, okay, of Concepcion Catholic School only. So probably these are grade 12 students only, okay? Then definition of terms. So these are the terminologies, okay? For definition of terms, these are the unfamiliar words, okay, that can be found on your introduction, okay? And it should be in alphabetical order. Okay, so that is an example of chapter 1. Okay, so next meeting, I'm going to continue discussing chapter 2 to 5. So let's focus first for chapter 1. Okay, so now you may start thinking of a research title together with your group so that next week we can discuss it. Okay, so kindly watch this video. Okay, and make sure to um, fully give your attention about this matter, okay? So if you have questions, you can always send me a message, okay? Thank you so much and see you next meeting.